Hello, John.
Hello, Alex.
Do you know what I love?
What do you love?
Lesbians.
Oh, wow. What an ally you are.
Yeah, because you know what I say in my allyship is what I want from my movie is a middle-aged cis guy who's straight as fuck to write and direct a movie about lesbians.
Absolutely.
It feels good and natural and not at all backwards facing.
What movie is that you're talking about?
I don't know. What was it called? Drive Angry or something?
It was called Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage.
Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage. My favorite scene in this movie is where Jamie and Maureen still fuck while they're in a fight and drinking Jack Daniel's whiskey.
Yes.
That was Drive Angry, right?
Yep. No, he's having sex and he shoots a bunch of people because he's like back from the dead.
Yeah, it was great. We watched Drive Away Dolls by Garfield's own Ethan Coen. So here's small backstory for this episode. I couldn't remember what movie we were supposed to watch this week. And I'm like, I'll just listen to the end of the last episode. So I tracked to the end of the last episode and I hear us talking about fucking Nermal from Garfield. And I usually I'm not going to listen to our show or whatever, but I'm like, our show actually is pretty fucking amusing that literally there's a full section talking about the origins and the gender expression of Nermal.
That you would expect when talking about the film Love and Monsters. That's going to come up.
Oh, so fun. Let's not do the thing where we start giving our opinion at the front, but this is not, he should have given this to somebody else.
See, so I'm going to chalk this up to not for me. We'll just call it that. He wrote this script with his wife, Trisha Cook, who identifies
as married to a man.
Well, she identifies as a queer person though. So,
I'm just saying, you're married to a man.
Yeah, you can be queer and do that. It's fine.
No, I'm not taking away your queer card. I'm saying I think you need the capital L lesbian rainbow Amex card in order to be the director or writer of this movie.
Well,
I'm not even fine. The writing's fine. It's the directing.
I mean, definitely the directing's an issue. Some of the writing, it doesn't. It's because before I kind of realized that when this movie was first starting, I was like, I'm not saying that Ethan Coen can't write women. I just don't think he can write these women because some of it, some of this stuff has this familiar kind of pattern in beats that Coen's scripts generally do in the dialogue, but it just felt off. But some of that, I think, is also the performances.
I don't disagree with that. I think mostly it's in the writing and the directing. The directing is really bothersome, which sucks because Coen brothers are some of our best directors ever. I mean, they've made some of the best movies. I dunk on them sometimes, but they're top tier, fucking S tier directors.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is just film bros like the Coen brothers. Yeah, because they make good movies. Sorry.
Yeah.
The thing is, it also, I mean, if I'm being honest, from my own perspective, the big star of this movie isn't even in the movie. It's Joel Coen. Because this shows you just how good Joel Coen is. Because Joel Coen also is their editor. He does the editing, and I think that was something that was lacking in this movie. The editor for this one was Trisha Cook, who's his wife, who's also the writer. But there were just so many things that just weren't quite there the way that they are in a Coen Brothers movie. Just mistimed, just beats felt weird, and then just that you see how and this isn't to say that clearly Ethan wrote it all and then Trisha just sort of showed up and did a little bit. Don't know what the collaborative process was, but there's definitely some stuff in there that definitely feels like a Coen Brothers movie, but it lacks that weight that, perhaps Joel is the one that usually gives it that. I don't know, because there's certainly stuff in here that reminded me of their old collaboration with Sam Raimi, Crime Wave, which sounds, as a concept, that sounds great, but the movie is not very good, and if you've read or any of them talk about it, particularly in Bruce Campbell's If Chins Could Kill, no one had a good time on that set, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I agree with you that it reminded me, some of the stuff did remind me of early Coen's in the kind of, he was going for a quirky quick, odd vibe, and it just feels like someone. I'm not trying to be ageist, but it feels like someone who's lost a step trying to do what they used to do. Like the pithiness isn't there, the kind of crispness isn't. And there's some scenes that are like, oh, this is cool. Like this is legitimately a cool scene, but like as a whole stitched together, it just seems like someone that's trying. It seems like I've made this analogy before. It seemed like in like 1996, where everybody tried to make a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If this feels like someone trying to make a Coen Brothers movie,
Yeah.
but it's not all there.
Well, yeah, I think some of that also comes down to the editing, because there's certain stuff that definitely, like, I appreciate, particularly at the beginning, some of the weirder like camera angles and stuff like that feels like that old kind of punchy Coen stuff, but just that the putting it together, it's not the same. It's lacking that punch.
I think the main thing on that is that there's not a continuity of it. Like it goes, there's so long between like a Dutch angle or that weird psychedelic shit that like you kind of forget it's in the movie. So when it shows up, it's just kind of distracting.
The psychedelic shit 100% feels like filler. It just
I
feels
don't
like
even understand what it's supposed to be.
Well, so ultimately it boils down to that it's supposed to like eventually it all leads to it being this flashback, or at least one section of it with the stuff being a flashback of Matt Damon's character, who was great. I liked his little cameo. That was fun, with an uncredited Miley Cyrus as essentially Cynthia Plastercaster. She's called Tiffany, I think, in this for probably legal purposes, but this person in the 60s, 70s, I think, that would make plaster casts of people's dudes dudes wangs. And Kiss had a song about her, and they, for whatever reason, they called her something else in this.
Yeah,
because I guess
yeah, it's probably.
I mean, it's fine. It's just it's a weird thing.
Yeah, I get what they were later. I just don't want what they were doing in the movie. It goes against the other vibe of it, and I mean, I guess we should talk about it a little bit in order, but just on like the overall deal is, if you're going to do weird shit like that it has to be more frequently or not at all. It's just like I know you already said this, but like there is full sequences that is just filmed like a regular ass movie where it's just like static camera, reverse shot, static camera, reverse shot, just normal, fine, dialogue's fine, acting's all right. But then you go to like weird shit and it's just like, well, that doesn't work in the other movie you're doing here.
I think it can, like, I like because particularly like when it's sort of saved for, like the opening thing with Pedro Pascal, who I did not know was in this, but is of course always fun. But like when it has that kind of noir-y look to it, and the crazy camera angles, or when the camera angles get crazy during an action scene, like during some of like the car stuff or whatever, like that's fine, that's interesting. But other stuff, like I said, the psychedelic stuff just never worked for me. It always just felt like filler, and felt like, well, we don't really know how to. Like, we don't want to just explain this in conversations. We're going to like allude to it with these weird psychedelic stuff, which some people have said that that's a throwback to 70s exploitation films, which some queer cinema has come out of, all stuff. And if I'm being honest, like, I guess I'm not as familiar with queer cinema, because I don't really understand that. Didn't really work for me. So I can't necessarily speak from any position of authority, but as just a viewer, it felt like, for a movie that's not even 90 minutes, it felt like filler.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of filler. I mean, we're going to go through it because I don't think we have enough to talk about the movie for an hour, other than let's go through some plot points. Because I left in want on a lot of this, which there's a lot of stuff in here to like, and it's just few and far between, and the writing's super clunky, and also there's not to be like, I'm not trying to take art from artists. If you want to tell a story about a group that you're not part of, that's legitimately fine. It just doesn't feel like he has, I don't know. It feels like two people in their 60s writing a young lesbian story. I don't know. It just didn't.
Right.
It just didn't feel truthful. Like, I said, that's so pretentious, but like there's like just an overall vibe of like, this doesn't feel like a real story. Not real story. This doesn't feel like there's no truth in your art, bro.
Right. It lacks authenticity or something. Yeah, I don't know. Like, some of it is also like it's noticeably, and for the kind of movie this is, and you think about the kind of movies that Coen Brothers makes, like there is a level of artificiality built into it, which is fine. But like, It still it kind of clashes against that. It feels a little strange, and I think particularly later when they're trying to make a point, like in the second half of the movie, it kind of kicks into more about like you could argue it looks at more at like sort of like gender roles and just like because when like Matt Damon gives his whole speech about like you just boil us down to this, you know, and the women are supposed to be kind of more open and fun in this movie, and the men are all like shitty and violent. That's kind of interesting, but it doesn't really, I don't know. I didn't care at that point.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish they had front loaded, like put that a little bit, some of that more at the front and make me, you know, a little bit more interested.
I think the main thing that's stopping me from enjoying the kind of Coen-y stuff in here is that our two leads, Margaret Qualley,
she's a quality
and Geraldine Viswanathan, Jamie and Marion, who they don't say their names enough, so I didn't know them until I read it off the IMDb. I think they needed to be slightly more grounded, and them also trying to be like slightly quirky takes away from the super quirkiness of the two guys chasing them, and then just feels like it feels like a farce, not a.
I think part of that is like, and I think Marion, Geraldine, this one, what is? How do you pronounce that name?
Viswanathan? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's what it looks like to my I don't know anything about Indian last names. Or somewhere Central Asian, might not be Indian.
I thought she was fine. I thought Margaret Qualley was doing comedy by way of Jake Gyllenhaal's character in Nightcrawler. Everything felt like really rehearsed and very like just say this as quickly as possible and as confidently as possible.
Rehearsed is a great
it just there's particularly one part where they're in the hotel. And I don't necessarily like some of this could be the direction as well, you know, but like they're in the hotel and there's a part where she like walks over and sits down and it's just so mannered. And it's like, you're just trying so hard to be this, I'm from Texas. It just, it didn't work for me. And that that sunk a huge part of it.
Yeah, that, and I was blaming it on her accent is the least natural thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And it really feels like she was laboring to act with that accent. And it sucks, though, because she is very charismatic. She's a very likable screen presence. And what she's doing here just sucks the life out of the movie a little bit. Well, she should be like a... I'm trying to think at Patricia Arquette from True Romance.
From Tiptoes? Oh, True Romance.
Or Tiptoes. But like that's the quality that should be here. And she's I don't know, she's supposed to be free-spirited and blah, 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 but I don't know. Yeah, it just seems very buttoned down and rehearsed. And it's like the way she's acting is the way that Marion should be acting. You know, like there's, I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's a certain amount of this that, because I guess this was initially written in the early 2000s and they kind of reworked it later. But there's a certain amount of this that just feels like James, cross that off, Jamie. You know, it feels like it just, what if we just gender swapped this? And that isn't to say that like there's no lesbians that act like this or anything like that. I'm not trying to make that claim, but it just feels like it's a role in a different movie, or like it just feels incongruous to this whole thing.
Agreed.
You know who I would honestly like to see in either of those roles?
Dudes.
Beanie Feldstein as Suki. Like I like Beanie Feldstein, and I think she's very funny, and I think she would have done that better in any. I mean, that's more just hey, Beanie Feldstein's great. I think, like, particularly, like, and that, you know, I don't know how we're doing this, but, like, the bit where, like, the guy falls over and the dog starts humping his butt, I'm like, I'm watching a Coen Brothers movie. You know, it just felt like, this just feels like I'm watching an American, you were talking about people making Wes Anderson movies. This feels like when everyone was trying to make an American Pie movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, okay, this is... That's
when
funny,
did the dog hump? I think
when the two goons come to Beanie's house and try to like, or come to Suki's house and are trying to like get the information out of her, and then she like knocks one down and he like falls down. The dog gets up behind. It's the little chihuahua. Yeah. I think some of it also.
This movie did not keep my attention very well. There were times that I was fighting to, like, I'll be making a note and be like, "Oh shit, I've got Blue Sky open."
Yeah, and one of the things when I say it's not for me is also it felt very much like, hey, lesbians can be horny too, okay? And I'm not arguing that. That's fine. And I understand like there's maybe not a breadth of films that cover this. But it felt very sort of like strident in this way that it wasn't just being funny. It was letting me know it was being funny and letting me know that lesbians can be horny. And it's like, you could just have them do it. It's fine.
Yeah. So the main plot in this movie is I guess maybe let's go over it in like a little bit of order. Like it's a very Coen Brothers setup. Is there is a briefcase stolen, or a MacGuffin that we meet with a hilarious violence in the beginning. Every Coen Brothers movie, and that briefcase is supposed to go into a trunk, doing one of those one-way car delivery services to Tallahassee, Florida. Which generally those services are for like rental cars, and that car was a beater, which was weird. But it's Coen Brothers movie. Why? I guess, yeah. That brings nothing other than questions.
Plot going. That's fine.
Yeah, which I was like, oh, cool. They're just doing an old school Coen Brothers thing. Like I'm kind of on board for this point. And yeah, the kind of subplot is the lesbian breakup because reasons.
Well, because she's fucking around. Is that Jamie, who's with Suki, is fucking around on her. Suki like calls her in the midst of that, and then
but I feel like Jamie's whole personality, at no point do you think, what that person's personality type is? Monogamy.
Yeah.
That no part of the way she's written makes like there's no fucking way that Suki does not know.
Sweet game, I guess, that Suki fell for, and it's just kind of had it with her shit in general.
That was. Yeah, and the way they do it, they like go to like a lesbian bar, and she's like doing shots off her asshole or something.
Well, yeah, that she won some body shop contest, and they're like, well, how would you do it this next time? She's like talking about where people would do body shots off of her, and then Suki's all mad that she's flaunting her sexuality, and being a slut, I think, as she puts it.
The body shots
direct, but that's what she's going.
That's the thing we did on your 30th when you put the tequila in your clavicle and you made all of us drink it.
Mm-hmm. Back when I had clavicles.
Okay. Yeah. You still have clavicles. They're just under
I got
hair.
Rid of them. I got rid of them. Don't need them.
I mean, I got no response. That wouldn't be way too mean. Everything that went through my head is like, I regret thinking that, let alone if I say that out loud.
Yeah. That's why I don't need clavicles. To make you feel
one
bad.
of the takeaways from this, Linda Ronstadt writes some bangers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You kind of forget those things.
Yeah. Also, very excited to see Joey Slotnick in this. Really, I only know him from that Jonathan Silverman 90s sitcom, The Single Guy. But he's just an actor. He's been in a bunch of like little stuff.
Yeah, I knew his face. What do I know him from?
I wouldn't know. The Expanse? The Hollow Man? I don't think he's in The Expanse, is he? I think I just made that up.
The Hollow Man, maybe. I definitely saw that. He was in the Murphy Brown remake.
Oh, well, who wasn't, to be honest?
George Axelrod.
That's true.
I just picked the name off his. Oh, he was on an episode of Pushing Daisies. Is actually where I know him from, because I've seen that show a whole bunch. I have no memory of him being on that show, but whatever. Yeah, he's been in everything. He's got one of those faces.
But there's he's a goon for the bad guys that actually, because as Alex said, they're supposed to be taking this car to Tallahassee. Well, that suitcase is in the car. They go with the people that want the suitcase show up after them, and in both scenes with them and the goons, with the car dealership, the car rent, whatever you want to call that guy, Curly, fantastic.
This is where I still had hope in this movie, because this is the most Coen Brothers-y shit that's ever Coen Brothers.
And it's very funny. Bill Camp is just deadpan. Love it.
Where fucking Jamie talks to him. It's like it's Curly, and it's like, hey, don't call me Curly. Like, well, isn't your name Curly? Like, it is. But that's way too familiar. We just met.
Yeah, and it's on his shirt. Yeah, I love it.
Fucking. That's where it's like, and I think that's kind of why I'm mad at this movie, because it tricked me into thinking I was going to be watching like a witty, fun Coen Brothers movie. And then it was just like, nah, it's just like kind of a dull, boring trudge. I didn't even hate it. It just was like, it just did. I not to echo you. It was not for me.
Yeah.
And I don't even know who it's for. Yeah.
Because I've definitely seen like, not just queer cinema, but other cinema that's like, yeah, okay, I'm not the intended audience. That's fine. Like maybe I got what I could get out of it, but there's just certain things I can recognize as, that's not for me. But yeah, there's just some stuff in this though that just feels like, no, this was not good.
It would be great in the Jamie role. I don't know her name, but the lady from. Oh boy, we got an Alex moment coming here, people.
Boy. Oh boy.
Is there any way I can get to... No, I remember it. I don't remember her name, but Licorice Pizza Lady, the actor, the musician.
The Haim.
Yeah. Corey Haim.
Corey Haim.
But that lady, her vibe in that
Yeah.
movie would be so much better for this.
She would be a lot of fun in this, I think. I think that's a
and
good
not
call.
just because they kind of look alike a little bit, but like
Yeah.
she just brought that, like if that was brought to, or if Margaret Qualley would brought that to the role instead of like I don't even know what the fuck she was doing.
Just fast talking. Yeah.
You know what she sounded like? She sounded like someone that works in an escape room.
I think I get what you're going for there.
Yep, I'm just gonna go over to the bed now. What? You don't want to have sex with me? Okay, I gotta tell you this, darling. No, I'm gonna go down on you. Okay, all right. And then your next clue is,
what kind of escape rooms are you going to?
ones with lots of double dildos. I mean, just Senator Cock as the day is long.
But yeah, so then
Or Congressman Cock. My apologies.
Right. The chase begins, so to speak. They're taking their trip south, and because part of the reason that she drags Geraldine, or she drags Marion with her, is, well, actually Marion is the one that's making the trip because she's just unhappy at her job, unhappy in her life. She's very like straight and narrow. Got out of a long-term relationship, I guess, a while ago, and has never had sex or been with anyone since. And as a recent convert, I mean, I suppose we should probably talk about this on the show. You are famously the bad boy, the original bad boy of podcasting, and I think we should offset that a bit. And so I've decided to become a born again Christian, much like Russell Brand, but mine is cold and calculated, unlike his very natural,
very authentic. Yeah,
yeah.
You're doing it to cover up for like horrific sex crimes.
For horrific stuff, yeah. And to kind of like, really feed our right wing audience. There's kind of like a little bit more interested in some of the wilder things I've been saying. So, but again, that's just me being cold and calculated, not Russell Brand. So I'm against all the lesbian sex in this. Let me just get off with that. That's no thanks.
As someone that got off with that, had to pause the movie, I got to say, pro lesbians.
As soon as I said that, I'm like, well, I just blew that bit. Like I just handed the keys to that bit to Alex.
No, your bit was good. Unfortunately, my only response was like not good. So I just I kind of bailed and just went to like low
humor. No, that's fine.
You set up a good bit. It was funny, and then I went lowbrow.
Yeah, I mean, I was complaining about lesbian sex. Where are you going to go with it? But anyway, back to the actual movie. Now
let's talk about how you're a Christian and you hate people eating box.
Sure. Yeah. So naturally, I already.
So my favorite book, Leviticus, obviously. My favorite church, Westboro Baptist.
Actually, I did when I was in high school and still going to church with my mom. I would frequently just during church read Deuteronomy because it had like the most bonkers rules in there.
Because dudes rock.
Because dudes, I was like, time for dudes. The Bible. Talk about like being for me. I was like, oh, finally a Bible book for me, for my generation.
Fuck yeah.
No, but it had like the whole like if you see the moon when your wife is having a period, you have to burn your house down, or
Oh yeah. That's the one with like the super crazy rules. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Breakfast served till 11.
That's one of the things I did like about this movie is so it's set in the mid 90s.
It's late 90s. It's supposed to be like 1999.
Okay, 1999. How they, I don't know how do you word that they didn't. They understood this wasn't the movie to challenge societal norms about lesbianism.
Right.
So like, yeah, whatever, they're making out in public. It does like they really like there was that whole thing of her getting arrested and it could have easily turned into like, well, let's make it a whole thing about how lesbians are persecuted, which they totally are. Like I'm not taking away from the struggle. It's like this is not the movie to discuss that, nor the author. And I like that they're just like, yeah, whatever. She's just open about it. Like,
right.
I got a rainbow card. You take that rainbow card? Like, yeah,
right. It's still in its burgeoning, like some, like, are we cool? But it isn't just like, look at how oppressed these people are. Because I couldn't help but think with Marion looking at all vaguely Middle Eastern, that I'm like, man, in 2 years, her life's going to suck. Because in 2001, America gets nuts.
Because of the whole Space Odyssey thing?
Because of the Space Odyssey.
Yeah, that was weird. Because, robots. That was like the Butlerian jihad, but in the real world.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened.
I am. Anytime I question why I have like a kind of small social group and like my life hasn't gone really well, this is one of those clips that I would like in the role to explain it, of like talking about 9/11 and saying, "Oh yeah, because that's the Butlerian jihad in real life."
Yeah.
And it's like it's like a deep well of terrible that my brain comes up with.
Well, there's just I can't defend it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I did. Not that you have the answer to this, but maybe you do. You're a wise man that has studied things.
Absolutely.
At one point, Jaime references, "Are you friendly to LGBTQ?" And she shows the card.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's too many letters for the late 90s.
LGBT.
Or was it?
I think it was just LGBTQ. I mean, I don't know. It's been too long.
See, T and Q. I thought it was just LGBT. And then Q was later, and I don't even think T was around. And then not that they weren't around.
I think you're right. I think it was LGBT, and then, but I don't even know when that started. I mean,
yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things I haven't thought about for a while because I'm like, when did the rainbow flag become like the popular symbol? And they're like, well, when did they add all the letters and
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, well,
Audience, sound off. Yes, don't know. Where were we in the plot? Oh, whatever. I mean, they go have misadventures, one of which is like they encounter a lesbian soccer team.
Yeah, that was one of the
makeout party with the lesbian soccer team, which I mean, like, yeah, there's a certain point where, again, like knowing that his wife was the co-author of this and that she's a queer person. Because that just felt like this is weird. This feels like an old man being like, yeah, and then all these girls make out and then they just switch randomly and it's like it kind of felt gross.
It's a male directing it and writing it. I don't know about mostly, but writing it just made that scene. I don't know. It didn't jive with me. But
yeah, I mean, I will say it doesn't do a whole lot of like, it doesn't do like male gaze on that kind of thing the way that a movie of that time would. When it was like, look, check this out. Like Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl song, where it was just like, it's two girls kissing for a dude's enjoyment. Check this out, Yeah. But it still felt a little weird.
I think that, because this doesn't feel like super male gazy, but it's like, it's still written and directed by a guy, and that scene was just kind of like, it's like an old joke. It's like, oh yeah, the softball team, bunch of lesbos.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't want to make this a 1-point movie of like, it shouldn't be directed by like a fucking older man. It's
just a dumb movie. That's the problem.
Yeah. That too. But I feel like if this were directed by like, a young queer lady or NB or whatever, just like, I think the energy would feel different. And like you could like, there's like the bones of something good in here.
Yeah.
That given somebody that's probably younger, still adventurous and queer would make it a more interesting watch than this. But
well, I think the focus of that scene is supposed to be Marion feeling, Jamie being like, hell yeah, like there's random hookups with hot ladies, that sounds great, and Marion being like, well, this is upsetting, this isn't really what I want, I feel awkward, and trying to like open up in this, and then you get the moment of their sort of fledgling possible relationship where she's supposed to make out with Jamie, she's next in line, and that's kind of awkward, and it doesn't really hit, it doesn't have that emotional weight to it. There's
no chemistry between them.
That's a huge problem, and I think, I don't think that's necessarily I don't know who to blame for that. I'm prepared to blame Ethan Coen for it. But, and like I said, I already don't like Margaret Qualley's performance, so it's just.
So Margaret Qualley's part of it, but also Marion's storyline, and this is coming from I talk about sort of AC over here. I thought they were bringing her in an ace direction. Like this is going to be like an asexual thing. Like she hasn't had sex in 4 years. Like she's like, but then it turns out, no, I just needed the hot lesbian to break me out of my funk. No, fuck me with a senator cock. We're just like, okay, that's great. Okay. I mean, I guess that's probably positive or whatever. I don't know. It's just, that's an uninteresting story to me.
No, fair enough. And I tend to agree. It's like also where there was the backstory of her, like the first time you see it, like where it's, her as a kid on a trampoline, and then she's looking over the fence at a neighbor sunbathing.
Hated these scenes so much.
But like, it was like, okay, that one time, okay, fine. But when they went back the second time, it's like, what are we doing here? Like,
why did they go in the first place? Oh yeah, what we need is a backstory to explain that,
was that she
women are attractive to lesbians. Oh, we needed a 45-second scene of a lady sunbathing to explain that.
Yeah, I mean, I do very much like that lady is just a lady. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like she was the hottest woman ever. It was just a middle-aged woman next door. But at the same time, it was like, is the thing here that like, oh, secretly, she gets horny too. Wow, crazy.
Yeah,
it just felt, again, it was it just felt incongruous with so much. Like, so much of this movie just feels like it doesn't fit together.
Those flashbacks were really stupid. I got no real like point to it. It's just like, what a waste. Also, speaking of waste, I know we both love Pedro Pascal. Why is Pedro Pascal in this movie at all?
I'm fine just like with him just popping in. It's it's nice to see him.
It kind of just was distracted. Well, if we never saw the head later in the movie, I wouldn't mind. But the fact that he just got him like sitting up in the back of a trunk, it was just like,
I like that. Like when they're putting ice in it, made me laugh.
I'm fine with the putting. No, like that part's like an amusing thing. It's just like, but Pedro's head actually being there, it's just like, I don't know. He's too recognizable.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine with like being a cameo. It's just like he's like in every movie right now.
I can see what you're saying. It's like one of my beefs with what I can remember of AI is there's a like, because I remember there was a complaint when it came out that they're the cameos are distracting, and like Robin Williams did it. He didn't bother me. There's a part when they're at that like the robot destruction fair, where it's like, hey everybody, it's Chris Rock. Okay, back to the movie. There's like a robot that talks like Chris Rock, and it's just very distracting.
Robin Williams was in that?
Yeah, he plays the like when David goes to like the professor like computer program. Yeah. That's Robin Williams.
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. But like when it's just like you just made a little cutaway to have Chris Rock go, oh, don't take me apart. I sound like Chris Rock.
Yeah. Right, on the cameo note, though, I liked Miley Cyrus in this. Even though I didn't like those scenes at all, that's a perfectly acceptable cameo. It didn't matter. Yeah. It didn't. She's not distracting. And maybe you go, is that Miley Cyrus? And it doesn't matter what the answer is. That's fine. But yeah, Pedro Pascal is. But it doesn't really matter. But when the tire pops, this was the Dutch angle part, and the tone of the movie. I'm just like, this is the moment I go, this movie's not gonna be good, because like it goes all wacky, and they're like, we're yelling, look, the tire popped, and like they were not really out of control, and then they gently go to the side of the road. It's like, this is just, you're just faking it. You're just.
But that, I mean, like, but that felt like very old Coen-y, like early Coen stuff, just like. Because it's kind of cartoony or whatever, but like I said before, it was just like the rhythm of it just didn't work.
The rhythm it doesn't work at all. It was just,
And then that's when they discovered that they have a suitcase full of something. And
which, by the way, speaking of movies, the movies that happened in the year after a major one, like this is that's why I thought it was like mid-90s, because this is such a Pulp Fiction ripoff. I mean, it's not, but like I thought that's the reference they're making.
Yeah, well, I mean, like there's just the trunk, Repo Man, they're just the MacGuffin thing. And so I like that kind of play on what the MacGuffin actually is. But what ends up happening is basically that because they realize they have something bad, and they realize that there's a head in the hat box.
8 of them in a duffel bag.
In a duffel bag. That was my first thought. But then, because I saw someone complaining about how, like, we're supposed to be laughing and there's a head in the back seat. And it's like, there were 8 of them in the 90s and we loved it. It's Joe Pesci's best movie.
I'm fine with, like, laughing when there's a head. I'm fine with them fucking with a head in, like feet away. I think tonally, they're trying 2 different things and it doesn't work. The whole movie was kind of wacky like that. Or they call attention to it, like, hey, I'm getting head and there's a head over there. That's a terrible joke. But like, I didn't write a movie. Like, I just thought about that in 8 seconds. Right. But something like, make a thing where you're like, oh, we understand the situation. This movie feels like it doesn't understand the tone it's going for in any given scene.
Well, I think some of that's also, going back to the driving, is that, so they're driving and having conversations. And then like also is the 2 goons, Joey Slotnick and CJ Wilson, who are just credited as goons, as the goon. And
for some reason, CJ Wilson, hold your thought, but on IMDb, CJ Wilson is credited as the goon, and then in parentheses as CJ Wilson, but without periods. So they had to do as.
Huh.
That's
I mean,
fucking weird. Sorry, that's
that's
a first for me.
But like some of their conversations, like again, like it sort of felt like, are we just doing Fargo again? Which isn't necessarily like fair to like this movie as a standalone thing, but some of it's just like, I just feel like we're doing a worse version of Fargo.
You're right. The weird accents just not as done as well.
Yeah, because I mean, mismatched hitmen, funny. Like that's not like specific to Coen's. That's fine. It just didn't. They weren't that interesting. It was fun enough. Like I said, I like Joey Slotnick, so that was fun to watch. But it just they kind of went to that well one too many times.
But also Joey Slotnick being an overly talkative guy, and then the other guy's super quiet.
Yeah.
It's just like it is just Fargo. Though Joey Slotnick, I think, did a good enough job. C.J. Wilson didn't.
He didn't have to do. He was like a store brand Nick Offerman.
Yeah,
kind of
but like when he gets pushed to the edge and then snaps and kills his partner and his boss.
Well,
and I
like,
don't think he played it very well.
No, but like, was the idea with that is that they had sex, and he was mad about it?
I think
they did.
Joey
Slotnick
sucked C.J. Wilson's dick, I think that's what they're saying in the background.
Because we'll get to it, I guess, but yeah. Turns out what they have in the briefcase, we find out, are these plaster casts of, well, they're not they're like latex dildos, and apparently they belong to. They were made out of plaster casts of these famous men's penises. One of which I do like the sly comment of the Supreme Court judge, and there's one black one in there. Because the way like he's like going through them, like, and he names like 3, and the 4th thing he says is Supreme Court judge, and in the as they're laid out in the thing, it's that
explains why they were drinking that Pepsi earlier, where they had to blow a pube off of it. Yeah,
it was Coke. I don't know why I felt the need to correct you on that. I know my pube sodas, and I
what was it? I didn't hear your correction.
Yeah,
it was
Coke
what?
Can.
Oh,
yeah. It's the only thing I know about that case, and Long Dong Silver.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Audience at home, if you know what we're talking about, lift from your knees.
Yeah, but and then, so in the midst of all this, is Marion and Jamie are figuring out that they have attraction to one another. And
are they?
I mean, it seems like it. It seems like that's what the movie wants you to think. But it just seems like Jamie is like Marion's falling for Jamie, sort of, or Jamie's just very aggressive and won't give up trying to make this happen.
I did not get the attraction between. I think it's just because they don't have much chemistry. I don't know if either of them are like are into women in real life. Maybe that's what I'm picking up. But like, it didn't feel. The Marion side makes sense because she's reserved. So like I get why I'm not getting that from her. But like the Jamie side, even as like an open, like I like fucking type person, it didn't even feel like she was all that into it. It just I
think it's also just because I think it's supposed to be that she's this wild child, charming person, and it doesn't come off as that at all. That like, so the sport is supposed to. It feels like some of that charm is you as the audience supposed to be like, well, of course she's going to fall for that, and I just didn't get any of that from her.
Yeah.
But again, she's not trying to charm me, so what do I know?
I want to audience at home, not to like call out people, but like if you're like a young queer person that's listening to the show, tell us if that relationship resonated with you.
Yeah.
Like hit us up on the X or I'm on Blue Sky. Alex Bowen, John's on Blue Sky now too.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to be public with that,
but
like,
but I don't really do much with it.
I'm on Threads or whatever. Just whatever place you want to get.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely curious as if that resonates with younger people, or this is just not that good of a movie, and John and I are overthinking it because we're old stodgy men that have a bit of odor to us.
Right. Well, a bit is nice. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But
I was saying, I mean, mostly it's offset because I bathe and John, and so like between the two of us, yeah.
I have a crystal that I rub in place.
Yeah.
And that's
I twice a year if I need it or not.
Yeah. But like a thing that bothered me about it, so they eventually like hook up at the hotel they're staying at. They have sex using one of the dildos, which happens to belong to.
No. She just goes down on her. The dildo thing happens afterwards.
It happens later. Right, you're right. Sorry, but
this is important. It's the only part of the movie I paid attention to. I went frame by frame just to see if there was a spare nipple laying around for me.
But that ends up like belonging to this local senator, played by Matt Damon, who that's when we find out that it was plaster cast and it was all this stuff. But what I thought was so funny about that, and this is just in the production quality of this. Is that you're making this bawdy movie And Jamie, she's this freewheeling spirit, whatever. I better be covered up this whole time.
Oh yeah.
You know, it just was funny. It's like I'm not demanding Margaret Qualley be nude, you know, whatever as a performer you're comfortable with. But it was just very funny. That's like it was just all of a sudden you're very vulnerable and
no. I had that exact thought of like she was like miming fingering herself on stage in the first part of the movie, but then she's like, oh no, I'm alone in the room with someone I just went down on. I better keep my tits covered. It's so
very very funny. But
I do again. I'm not like I'm not trying to like look at it. Just given the character, it's a weird choice, and it's not even like you don't have to show her nude, but like they hung a lamp on how much she's covering herself with. Like they watched her do.
If she was just like in a shirt, but no, you know, if she was just like.
Or you do that thing where you shoot it from the side and you get a little side boob or just the back. Like there's a million ways to not to keep the modesty of the actress, but this is just like, oh no, hold on, let me get comfortable. She comes in like a full fucking burqa hijab. Whatever.
Which is like for being a raunchy sex comedy is like now is when you pull your punches. Seems really a little strange, but. Anyway, they have a whole thing where the bad guys catch up to them. They go to a dog track, and they have a big confrontation about it. And you get explained at what these are and what they mean.
Which, by the way, my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, well, I like that bit where like they keeps cutting back to the dog running in slow motion because it was this sort of like oncoming doom.
You know why?
They're trying to go for there. Why is that?
Because they're all bad. I'm keeping my bit going from last episode that I think dogs are bad.
Yes.
Is I like dog tracks because they get tortured and they have to fight for our amusement.
Yeah, which, I mean, Cameron Harrison from Green Shirt, he agrees with you. He's a big dog abuser, I shouldn't say.
Fuck yeah. No, he is. No, he and I talk about it all the time. We buy Shih Tzus and throw them at each other.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of which, just small True Blood update. There's a fucking plot point that I totally forgot about where there's shapeshifters there too. They shapeshift into dogs and go to a dog fighting thing. It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's your Alex's True Blood update.
No, thank you for taking the heat off of me accusing Cameron Harrison of abusing dogs, which I just did again.
Oh, he cried when we did it together.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
that makes it okay.
I took it a little far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know,
you tend to.
Things happened. Yeah. True Blood things.
I know you're a shapeshifter. Get out of there.
Oh, yeah, call the success.
But so and then the one guy so the two goons have been after them and like have been driving for like apparently 2 days straight and not sleeping. And there's like a little conversation in the background where Joey Slotnick like makes some reference to like them doing something sexual together to keep him up, you know, to keep us awake. And then the other goon gets mad and shoots him.
Yeah.
And like so this is where it starts like that whole like subtext of the violence of males and the being free and open and all that stuff is kind of interesting and kind of in play, but they just don't do a lot with it. And then when they eventually realize what they have, because everyone's dead now, they all escape. But all the goons and the chief, they're all dead. They still have the head. They still have the head, I guess, and which they keep for some reason, and the dildos, and they decide to blackmail Matt Damon's character with it because he's like a conservative Republican guy in Tallahassee. And I thought that scene was fun when they're in the gay bar. Of course, the back of my head, all I'm thinking is that this gay bar doesn't have any fire exits. Enjoy your death trap, ladies.
Annoyance here. 1999.
Mm-hmm.
No sitting congressman is going to have $1 million liquid in a day. I get that this is a Coen Brothers movie, but at least give a throwaway line. That is stupid. Second, it's not going to fit in a tiny little valise. Like that. Again, throwaway line. I don't know why, but that really annoyed me.
I don't know. Movie magic, I was fine with it. I just went, yeah, okay. But point taken. But they have a conversation, and I like that when he's looking at the dildos, and he's like, "Look at this. These are great men, and you've whittled them down to just this."
Yeah,
I think it's an interesting point to bring up in a sex comedy, in that kind of like thing. Like that's cool. It just didn't land.
The part that I was weirded out is that one of them was unclipped. Now, one, gross, get that anteater out of my face. But two, I feel like if you're going to get your dick cast, it would be at like full staff where the ring wouldn't be as apparent. Is that not how it works? I've never had one.
Yeah, I've never. You've never had a penis?
I've never had one with a foreskin.
Oh, no, I've never had a plaster cast made of my junk. It's not really something I feel it's worth preserving for time.
Because yours is beautiful.
Thank you, but it's just, you know, I like to think of it like a dream. You know, in the moment, it's beautiful and wonderful, but then you just kind of immediately regret it in the morning.
It is a dream. I mean, it's surrealist in the whole. There's that weird sideways nose coming out of the one side. Yeah,
it's very well, it's a cubist.
Yeah, exactly.
In that it is a cube.
Yeah, it's a weird plot, and it's again fine
I like
for
that
Coen
we take
brothers.
Hey, here's a movie celebrating female sexuality. Let's talk about our penises.
But it's not a movie celebrating female sexuality. It's a movie that, I mean, the way this movie wins is that one character comes so hard from using an authentic dick that both of them get sad that they can't keep that authentic dick, so they make a copy of it. This is not very pro. I mean, whatever. But 1999, I get what year it is. I get what the world looks like. But unless there's a video of him putting his dick in plaster.
Yeah.
That is not a usable bit of blackmail.
Yeah.
You would have to take it. You'd have to take his word that's nothing.
Right. That there would have to be more evidence than that or
which
whatever.
again, if this movie had more of a dreamlike realness or a dreamlike surrealness, I don't have these thoughts. But the fact that like most of the movie is pretty straightforward and it's just like it feels kind of real and it's just like,
you forgot all the cool psychedelic stuff, though.
I mean, I saw psychedelic stuff. I don't know about cool psychedelic stuff.
Right.
Also, I'm pretty sure that's just the guitar part from like "Shine on You Crazy Diamond" or like a Pink Floyd song.
It could be. I don't know.
It just shut up, you fucking old square.
Yeah, it just.
What happened to Joel Cohen, by the way?
Well, he did that Macbeth movie.
Oh, that was him. Oh, I thought that was also.
They haven't made a movie together since Buster Scruggs. And
well, because Joel went down on Ethan, and he was really upset. They'd been awake for a while, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what the subtext of the movie was.
As I started that sentence, I realized that
they're brothers.
They're brothers, yeah. And like, I honestly, but I was like, I have no way. Like, I'm already committed to this. But like, I was like, oh yeah, that's not like a stage name. That's like literally. And I have brothers, and like that's really gross.
Yeah, no, thank you. And then Matt Damon, having collected the stuff and paying them off, like leaves and then puts a mask on and comes back still carrying the suitcase and to try to shoot them. And it Beanie has Felty and Sukiya shut up with this dog. It's a running gag thing, and then the dog, whatever. Matt Damon gets caught, and I do like the headline though, that it's like, you know, the senator found shot. With briefcase full of dildos, and like his pull quote is, "I can explain everything." And then, okay, so you are a reader and a smart guy.
I mean,
what's the Henry James? What's the Henry James runner in this? I don't. Oh,
I don't know. I've never was much of a Henry James guy. I didn't understand it, and I forgot to look it up. Because the chief is reading it as well.
The chief's reading as well because Marion is reading this, and there's a conversation about how Jamie doesn't read, but that Marion is reading this Henry James book. The chief, the bad guy, is reading the Henry James book, and at the end, it ends with them driving like a cartoon version of their car, basically like a graphic version, driving by a sign that says "Drive Away Dolls," and then some of the letters on dolls are papered over what's written graffiti on the wall, and it says "Drive Away Dykes."
Yeah,
that is what the movie says. It's not me saying it. I just covered my butt, but. And so I'm like, but then it's like Henry James Drive Away Dykes. And I'm like, I don't know what this is supposed to mean. So I can't say it's not funny. I'm just saying I don't know what it means. I didn't delve into that. I figured you might know something.
No, I do. Drive Away Dolls ending explained. Let's Go Lesbians, it says here. Legend of Curly's Gold. That's funny. Yeah. I just want to get to the. Oh my god, this is a 15-page article.
Oh yeah, because it's just like AI nonsense or.
Okay. A final title card reveals the true name of the film as a car flies by Drive Away Dykes. While releasing the film under that title in 2024 wasn't a possibility, and considering the country's blah blah blah. A title that recalls far more salacious names of the exploitation movies the film was inspired by. who first tried to. Well, the film is certainly unique in its silliness and ribald sexuality. It happily turns culture, LGBT, blah, blah, blah. Adding a Henry James prefix to the final title. Yeah, that didn't explain anything. Dear people, it's slash film. I didn't even look. I wouldn't even read this.
Well, I think it's supposed to be this idea of.
I think it's supposed to be a joke.
Well, and just like this merging of high and low culture, which I mean, they're not strangers to, or the Coens aren't necessarily strangers to. It just, I don't know. They're also like, oh, it's supposed to be like these exploitation films. Okay, that's you saying that. Does the movie say that? You know, I just didn't get that vibe from it at all, and it didn't have that kind of. It didn't have the same vibe as those kind of movies they're claiming it's supposed to be like. I don't know. It just, all of it just felt flat and strange, and there were a couple laughs, but not for me. Maybe I'm not the intended audience, but there was just some stuff about it that just felt off, and no thanks.
In looking at this, he wrote the turning of the screw, which might be what they're referencing, because they screw a lot in this movie.
Oh, and then they turn
around to do the double-headed dildo thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie, it kind of stunk. It was, I mean, it wasn't like actually bad. It lacked good.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. It's competently made enough, but like, there wasn't anything to really hold your attention. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. I don't recommend it. I would, again, any young queer people or full ass grown up queer people that want to watch this for us and tell us what you think about the relationship. I would like to hear that, because I genuinely feel like we're just going to be agreed with. Like, I really feel like it's just not a particularly good movie, and our point of view isn't going to do anything.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those, like, it's got some decent reviews, but I don't know, didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I wanted it to do something for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, very much so. But no thanks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So speaking of good things that we're not talking about in segues, lady segues. What you got anything to tell the audience you liked?
Yeah, I saw for the first time. I missed this when it came out. Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Really?
I'd never seen that before.
Oh.
And I was on Criterion and I checked that out and I really enjoyed it. And you could totally see where it is like, oh, this came from a play. Just like the way it's set up. And you're like, oh, okay, I absolutely see. But it was a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed it. I'm not even a big like musical person, but I liked it.
That one fell flat on me. Just the songs didn't. I liked the movie well enough, but just the songs didn't. I didn't find them catchy enough. So like the movie's like pretty good. And if the songs were catchy, I'd be like, this is one of my favorite things ever. But the movie's like pretty good, and the songs are like kind of mid, as the kids say. So just, which sucks, because I have a lot of friends that love that fucking movie, and like, I really wanted to be there with it, and it just didn't. Yeah. I
think it also, though, like, it makes sense for me in the movie that the songs are kind of mid. I know that's like on like a meta level that like, yeah, it was fine,
the guy that plays, or the person that plays Hedwig, I wasn't enamored with the performance.
Oh, see, I liked it a lot. And I forgot that Michael Pitt was in it. He was in. He was Hannibal in Hannibal. He was the guy that got his face ripped off by dogs. He was in Boardwalk Empire. If you watch that, he was like, they started to build the show around him, and then he was
the guy that got his face ripped off by dogs. That looks like Chris Foe.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
But
that's helpful to the audience at home. Sorry, that's somebody we know.
But anyway, like, it was just like, every time I see him, I just remember, oh yeah, you were on Boardwalk Empire, and they had to like change the whole series because you were such an asshole on set that they just killed you off.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, he was like late all the time and shitty, and like him and Paz de la Huerta were just nightmares to work with, apparently.
Who is Paz de la Huerta?
She's the woman that Michael Shannon's like policeman, like, she's Nucky's ex that like the policeman ends up knocking up.
You know that on that note, didn't that show like have to change the ending because the lead character was such a prick to work with?
That's what I'm talking about.
That's Paz de la Huerta?
No, that's Michael Pitt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Michael Pitt's the. Oh wait.
I just gotta look. No. Steve Buscemi and him, because he was like the young up and coming guy.
No, I don't. I have the wrong person in my head. Yeah. That's the guy from Dahmer? From Hannibal?
Yeah. Not the movie Hannibal. That was
No, the
was,
TV show, like the one that I like, that I watch way too often.
Yeah,
That's him.
yeah. Mason Verger.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess I can kind of see it in
and
that.
he
But
was-
he's got one of those faces that, like, from a certain angle, that is completely unfair. I did not put that together.
And he's in Ghost in the Shell, which I forget that I've seen.
We may have done that on the show.
We did. That's the only reason I watched it.
Yeah. Look at me remembering something from our show.
But that was good. Do you have anything that you
I do.
would recommend?
I don't know if I've ever talked about this show called True Blood. No. I got around because I had to sign up for Sling TV because that's where the hockey playoffs are going, and my team is doing very well. The New York
Who's your
Rangers.
team?
The New York Rangers. They had the best record in the NHL. They won the President's Trophy there, and they're doing very well in the playoffs. And I was like, I want to watch. So I signed up for that, and that comes with stuff. Mm-hmm. And you've got like a channel guide, like old school TV, where you can just like flip through the channels, or at least flip through the guide to see what you want to watch. And it's like on a timer, like old TV, like where I know I'm overly describing this, but I haven't had that in 15, 20 years.
Sure,
that are like, oh, this is scratching an itch I didn't know I had. And I ended up watching Detective Pikachu.
Oh.
And that's a fucking delightful movie.
Is it? Okay.
It is. It's not like, don't go out of your way to watch it.
Right.
But on if whatever streaming service you like, if you like don't know what to watch and you're just kind of scrolling around trying to figure, and that pops up, full recommend, full send it.
I need some time away from Ryan Reynolds before I can come back and be like, I could just accept Ryan Reynolds. Kind of like with Michael Cera and like Will Ferrell a bit, where it's just like, I don't like him, right? I'm tired of his shtick.
His
so,
the human lead, who I don't know.
Human lead.
What's that?
Don't you want me?
Thank
baby?
you. I literally was gonna make that joke, but I'm like, I have no idea what song.
You're like, no, that's way too stupid. That's so beneath me.
No, I just couldn't think of what song Human Lead did, or I would have immediately done that. But the human lead in it is really good. Well, not really good. He's very watchable, and the human lady is somebody we know, and I wish I had looked this up before I started talking. Wait, sorry, I want to look it up. No, not. I looked up fucking Detective Pokemon and it's coming up with the hypothetical sequel. Fucking IMDb is a garbage heap. Yeah, so
the lead is Justice Smith from Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Yes,
who I really liked in that, and then is in that I Saw the TV Glow, which I'm very curious about watching.
And the female lead is this lady called Catherine Newton, who Lisa Frankenstein, which is making some waves right now. But she was one of the many Cassie Langs in the Ant-Man movies. But you would know her. She's been in a bunch of crap, but she's quite good.
Mm. Yeah, she's in Freaky, which is supposed to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
where it's like she and Vince Vaughn, like Vince Vaughn's a serial killer, and they like switch places.
Hell yeah,
Freaky Friday thing.
Lisa Frankenstein, I've heard good things about. I'm not going to watch it, but like I hear it's like if you're the type to like that kind of movie, that's your kind of thing. But yeah, Detective Pikachu is weirdly fetching. It's a fun thing, and that one English guy that's in everything is in it. That he was the bad guy from Werewolves versus Vampires with Kate Beckinsale. Bill Nighy is like the guy that runs like Pokemon headquarters, and
nice.
he's got such gravitas that it's just like this. It's really fucking weird. It works great, but it's just like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, I like that guy. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's just the way they incorporated the Pokemon and the humans together was really fun. Like it's like my thing with dogs. Like, they're really irritating to be around, but they're super cute. So it's like there is this thing, like at one point he's on like a train or something, and like a Lick-a-Tongue or whatever, like this big pink monster with a tongue is next to him, but like there's nothing you can do, so you just have to sit there as the thing licks his face. And it's like, yeah, this is exactly what it would be like.
That would be the reality.
But yeah, if you're ever like, I don't know what to watch, and whatever streaming service it's on is there, that big recommend. Like, there's some sequences that it's pretty obvious you start fast forwarding. Like, there's one part where they're in like an earthquakey kind of thing that I don't want to give too much away, but like, just, it's a 4-minute sequence. Easily could be 25 seconds. Just go ahead and hit that triple time. Like, I get it. This but the rest of the movie is quite cute and fun. So John, I was thinking for next episode, we should do something a little toothier. Well, maybe not toothier. Maybe like got a little more kick to it.
Okay.
No, wait, maybe not kick. Maybe like punchy, but not really punch. Like a claw. Something's got claws. Something's got like an iron claw. Like an eagle holding the fasces, like fascism. Like we can watch movies that make fascism feel really good. Oh wait, no, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry. We're gonna watch the Iron Claw, the Von Erich biography. I don't know.
Yeah.
Starring Zac Efron and that guy that looks like Willy Wonka, Jeremy Allen White. He looks exactly like.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's like sexy Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
I love it. So
Lily James plays Pam Atkinson, and Lily James is the name of Harry Potter's mother.
That's very interesting. I like, so that guy was, the bear and all that, and he was in some sexy underwear ad, and they kept asking the actress that was like, I don't know if she was his love interest on the bear or something, but they kept talking about, hey, he's so hot in these things, right? Like it was at the Emmys or something, some award show, and she was like, yeah, he's my coworker. Like funny. People keep talking to me about this, but he's my coworker. This is very weird for me.
Now here's a real brain teaser for you, John. Walking into the woods, you can either see that guy or an actual bear. Huh? Which do you choose?
An actual bear.
No, well, let me explain how logic works.
I mean, like from a distance, or like they're right there.
I literally just wanted to make the "let me tell you how logic works" joke, and that was I was done. That's all I was doing. It's literally.
I want to know about meeting this bear. He sounds cool. End of it.
Yeah, yes, and also, would you love him as a worm? So we're gonna watch the Iron Claw, which is good. Finally, Gadget's murder will be avenged. This show is so stupid. We'll see you next time.
Bye.